Why, hello there, lovely listeners and lovely viewers as well for our YouTube channel. You are down the red rabbit hole once again, and I am author N V Peacock, otherwise known as Nicky. And of course, with me is the lovely Lisa. Lisa?
I'm not lovely. I'm
No, she's
awful.
not. I'm lying.
But I am still here, and I am Lisa Shepherd, comedian and therapist.
You are indeed. And you've been out with your sack. You've successfully sacked
I
into
have.
another author down the red
Getting
rabbit hole.
really good at it.
You
She
are,
had
aren't
no
you?
idea. She didn't see it coming at all.
She didn't. We've got the amazing Heather Critchlow, author. Hello, Heather.
Hello, thank you for having me. Well, for sneaking up on me and throwing me in a bag and dragging me down the rabbit hole.
It's our pleasure. I hope you didn't
You'll
get too
come to
jostled
like it
around.
down here.
It's very nice here, yeah. Just a
It's
bit sort of
warm.
sandy and
Muddy, yeah, and smelly a little bit as well. We've still
Earthy.
got another earthy. That's a good one. I'd like that in
I
the yacht
cleaned up. Had a little spruce up
You did. We had
before
a
I went out on the
clean.
hunt. Yeah.
When the rabbit went off to do the Easter, chores
Oh,
that he
Yes.
was doing.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely had the time. So, Heather, tell us a little bit about your books.
Yeah. So I guess the most relevant ones to this discussion are my Cal Lovett series, which are about a true crime podcaster investigating cold cases of missing and murdered people. And they are sort of set in Scotland. And so each book has a different cold case. And I am a big reader of true crime and listener of true crime podcasts. And so there's obviously quite a lot of inspiration has come from listening to those stories and being really compelled and horrified by some of the things that have happened. And I also have a sort of dystopian novel coming out soon, which is a little bit different, a kind of very cheerful end of the world type affair.
Really very apt now.
Yeah, it's called
we seem to be, we seem to be living in a kind of dystopia, don't we, at the moment?
Yeah, it did. So I started writing it before COVID, and it is about a virus hitting the world in 2050. And as I was editing, I had to start taking things out because they were just too close for comfort.
Yeah.
And it was quite weird. I had to kind of almost manufacture things to make them less realistic because I didn't want to put things in about Russia and Israel, and it was all a bit strange. But it was born before COVID, so it's not supposed to be a COVID novel.
Gosh, that was never something we thought we'd have to think about, is it? That actually something dystopian, a fictional dystopian future would be too close to reality, so that you need to edit it and make it less like reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a discussion recently. I went to a lecture about The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood.
Yes.
And did you know everything in that book
Everything
actually
has
happened? Yeah.
Yeah. It's horrifying, isn't it? So everything in that book has happened somewhere in the world.
Gosh, I thought she was just predicting it was going to happen because it's getting closer. But it has, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Ew.
Somewhere in the world.
It's quite
Not fun,
terrifying
is it?
when you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
But let's get back to true crime podcast.
Yeah, more cheerful.
Yeah. So Heather, what's your favorite true crime podcast?
So I have a couple probably. I really like the series Someone Knows Something, which is a Canadian podcaster called David Ridgen. And I really like his style. I really find him, he's an interesting character. And I kind of almost sort of drew on him for my character in my books because he has a really poetic style. And I think I was used to, when I first listened to him, I was used to listening to quite like newsy podcasts that were very serious and straight-laced, and he's a bit more poetic. And also he's just got a really nice way about him. And he has taken his teenage son on one of his podcasts. And my podcaster has a teenage daughter who he kind of takes along sometimes with him. And also he's really nice to people's pets when he goes and interviews them. And I just really like that. And so, I always have my podcaster kind of bond with the dog or whatever.
That's that bizarre thing, isn't it? Whereas, oh yeah, we'll happily listen to true crime about all sorts of horrible things happening. But if anything happens to the dog or the cat or the animals, no.
Yeah, I find true crime really hard, I have to say. I don't like, I think probably like a lot of authors, I've got an overload of empathy. So
Mm.
I find it really hard not to put myself in somebody's shoes. And I definitely find if I listen to too much true crime, I have to have a break and I can't. It like really stays with me. And I think there's something about podcasts because you've got people's voices in your head and you just take them around with you, like you're washing the dishes or you're driving the car or you're out walking the dog and you've got these voices in your head and it's really nice in a way because it's a way of giving a voice to people who've been victims of injustices and families who don't have answers and who might not have had an avenue in the past to kind of talk to the world and say this happened to my loved one. I don't know why. But yeah, I think you do have to be careful because you do take it in. I mean, at times I've listened to them while I'm going to sleep, which probably not the best idea because you're kind of yeah. And also out running, I went through a phase of listening to Case File. I don't know. Do you
Oh yeah,
know?
case file,
Love
yeah.
Case File.
Yeah. I mean, Case File's really good, but I was listening to it while out running and I was training for an ultra marathon and I was doing really long runs in really remote places. And so there's me on a disused railway line, kind of jogging along, and a poor guy in a hoodie coming towards me. And I've convinced myself because I'm listening to something so terrible that I'm literally about to be murdered by this poor man who just walks past me. So yeah,
Yeah, I've
be
definitely done
cautious.
that as well. Definitely created some sort of horrible narrative for just some people out fishing.
Yeah,
I've been on a walk going, where's my exits? Where's the
yeah,
closest people? Where am I going to go to? I've also
yeah.
done that thing where sometimes when you listen to one so much, you can then hear those people narrating about you.
Yeah, it was she thought it was a
What I'm
normal
doing.
day.
Yeah. Don't open the
Putting away
boot.
the washing. She was just doing this. There was evidence she'd been tidying the house.
Oh,
Evidence of
yeah.
tidying the house.
Before she disappeared. Like my life's not even that glamorous. I'm not going anywhere to disappear. But
Oh, yeah. No, then you need to step away, don't you? Just for a bit.
Well, the thing is, though, we've said it several times on this podcast, the people that are most likely to get killed by a serial killer are prostitutes, hitchhikers, and runners.
Yeah, it's always runners or find a body. That's the other. It was dog walkers, isn't it? Dog
Yeah,
walkers find
it's never a
bodies. Yeah.
mannequin. It's
No,
yeah.
no, it never is. Like, yeah, but it was a mannequin.
no, who would do that?
Yeah, so it's probably not the best idea, but I mean, yeah, you could run, just run faster.
How far was your ultra marathon? Because that's amazing.
So the longest one I did was round the Isle of Wight, which was
Oh.
106 kilometers. And I actually did it with my dad.
Oh,
And so we
Wow.
set off, and 20 and a half hours later, we limped finish line.
Do you
Yeah,
stop
that
and
was
sleep? Or do you just carry
no,
on?
no. They have rest stops, and you can kind of refuel along the way. I mean, you could. There's nothing to stop you sort of lying down, getting
Mm.
20 winks, but no, we sort of did it non-stop, and then yeah, just eat a lot.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
I don't have time to do them anymore because the training takes a really long time. It was write
Yeah.
books, run ultra marathons, so I went for
Yeah.
the books.
Good choice, I think, and safer, as Nicky says.
yes. I think, as long as you don't go hitchhiking or change professions in any way, I think
Yeah.
you should be okay. I
I
really like
have
the
had, yeah.
I really like the podcasts that are, I suppose, hosted by people within the profession. So, Real Crime Profile, I love with Jim Clementi, like the
Ah,
ex-FBI agents, that
I
they
haven't
really
listened to
know
that
their
one.
stuff. Jim Clementi does Criminal
Okay.
Minds and many
Ah,
other things. He's ex-FBI, but he's also an ex-prosecutor for New York. So
oh
he's
wow.
got
Okay.
both law and order. I always hear whenever it comes on. But yeah, I love
Yeah.
those kind of things because you just get this very unique perspective and they're detached, but they're not detached as well. So you can get kind of both sides. So I love it.
Yeah, there's one I was listening to recently that is she's sort of ex law enforcement in the States, but she's still technically, she sort of gets co-opted onto police forces. And I'm trying to remember the name of it because it was, like you say, she just had slightly different um, take on things. And she
Mm.
was kind of neither police nor civilian. She sort of straddled the middle. It was really,
Like a
really good.
consultant. Yeah. The other
Yeah.
one I really love is Laura Richards because she is British and she was in the police
Um,
over here, but she's pioneered so much for the laws to change around like stalking.
oh, right. Yes. Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's so many. You used to be, it felt like you could kind of keep on top of true crime
Oh, yeah,
podcasts.
you go.
And now you kind of go on to Apple and like, oh my God, there's hundreds and hundreds. And but yeah, I do love that about them though. I love the fact that yes, it could be a prosecutor, or it could be a really slick media team, at newspaper or a magazine. But literally, there's no barrier to entry. It could be a curious person with an iPhone. And it does give me a sort of sense of satisfaction that there might be these criminals out there who think they've got away with things. And it's 30 years on and they think no one's coming for them. And then some nosy person with an iPhone decides that this is the case that they're going to crack, and off they go. It's like, haha, you're not safe.
Yeah, but they could come after you. That's why I think deep down, me and Lisa don't do that much research.
Just hide in the rabbit hole.
I do kind of fantasize, it's not a podcast, but it's on that same sort of premise, Only Murders in the Building,
Oh, yes.
the
I haven't seen that
series.
yet, and I keep meaning to watch it because I've heard
Yeah.
really good things about it.
But that is just three people thinking they'll make a podcast and then kind of stuff going on in their building that they start investigating. So there's part of me going, Nicky, if it just landed in our laps, I think we'd have a duty as podcasters to go
You would have
and
to use your
investigate. I think we'd
podcasting
have to.
expertise. You really would.
We could
Tell you
get
what,
all of your ex-police friends on as,
yeah.
as our experts.
My A team of people, my
Yeah.
ex-police friends, my law friends,
She's got
the
everything
experts.
ready. See, if I go missing, I'm just going to end up as a story on a podcast at some point, probably not a brilliant one. Whereas if Nicky goes missing, she's got a full team of people ready to jump into action to come and find her.
She would. I'm sure she would come looking for you if you went missing.
No, she did. That'd be a case, wouldn't it? She'd make a good podcast out of that.
I'd have to travel a lot, and I'm just not really into it. Seems like a lot of hassle, but
I think you get really bored of all the research as well. What was she doing today? Oh, cleaning. What was she doing that day? She was spotted on the school run. Well, this is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's like those people, you get those sort of kind of armchair warriors, don't you, who sit and they just track things down using Google Maps and Google Street View and all those sorts of things. So maybe you could just stay home and do it.
Maybe. So that brings us nicely on to one of the subjects that I know that Heather, you really red rabbit holed down into is missing men, because we don't often hear. I mean, men do go missing, but we don't hear about the cases as much as we do women and children.
Yeah, I mean, I did my third book in the series, Unsound. I decided I really wanted to do a missing male because my first two books, there were missing women or murdered women, and I think that's really, it's really common. But I was quite interested in sort of thinking about the differences really when men go missing. And so the character in my book is a student. He goes off to university. He's actually he comes from a farming family in the north of Scotland, and he goes off to university to study land management. But the plan is always he will come back after university and he'll take over the family farm and run the farm. And he comes back at his first Christmas and he's just different. And his family can't get out of him what's wrong. He's obviously not himself. Goes back to university after New Year, and that's the last they ever hear of him. And he just vanishes. So he's away at university, so they're not on site. They didn't even know for a couple of weeks that he's gone. And then this poor mother goes down and kind of tries to get people interested in helping her, and no one will help her. And she doesn't know who his friends are. And there's just a different attitude, I think, probably in society when men go missing. There's not they're not maybe as sympathetic characters as young women and children who are often more commonly taken. And so in my story, the family just find it really hard to get people interested. And 15 years later, there's no body, and and people say he's killed himself. And that is such a common way for young men, particularly, to die. and they're adamant that he hasn't. So along comes a podcaster to try and unravel what happened to this guy.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, we were talking beforehand, Heather, about when it comes to sort of missing men, I think a lot of them get lumbered into the whole category of I went out for a pack of smokes and then they never came back.
Yeah,
And they just moved to a different city and then started a new family. They just started over again. So,
yeah,
they want to go missing, so to speak. And
yeah.
there's going to be so many cases where that is not right at all, and they've
No,
just been lumbered into this whole kind of, they just went out one day for, some ice cream and never came back.
yeah. And it's so, I think that's the thing that always grips me with any podcast and true crime thing is that uncertainty. Like it eats me up inside. I just can't. And that's me as an, dispassionate observer. What must it be like if that's someone in your family and you just don't know? I mean, it must send you absolutely mad. I can't I I don't like an unresolved, case. I want to know what's happened. I want to figure it out. So what does that do to the families? I mean, one of the cases that I was quite interested in when I was thinking about that book was the case of Corey McKeek, who was an airman who went missing. And I think we still don't 100% know, but it's basically assumed that he had got into a big bin to go to sleep
And it
when
got
he was drunk,
collected.
and he got
Yeah.
collected, and so his body's never been found. And obviously, I couldn't sort of replicate that story because it had an obvious, everyone's heard that case, and so you couldn't. But that did start me. It was that case that sort of started me off spiraling, thinking, well, what how was he treated because he was drinking or this or that, and what did people think? And the family were really desperate and were really campaigning to sort of get resources to look for him. And so yeah, that did kind of get me going as well. And I've always been interested in abandoned buildings and derelict places, and so I did sort of marry the two together with this missing young man, and then there's this grain silo in Edinburgh that's not there anymore. It's at the Leith Docks. It was knocked down a few years ago, but urban explorers have kind of gone in and done video and shot footage and things in there. So I was able to kind of my research rabbit hole was going into that building through the video that they'd taken. And then yeah, that's the sort of place I thought that this young man might end up. Without spoiling things too much. I'm losing a headphone, sorry.
Well, it's interesting to use kind of university as a place for your protagonist to go to then go missing because it's a really vulnerable time, I think. And I think that's another sort of level of not thinking about their vulnerability because they go off to university and you think, oh, everyone does it, it's fine. But they're 18 and, I used to work in a university and we had quite small classes. So we did know everyone. But it's not, nobody goes chasing you if you don't turn up for lectures. Nobody
No.
checks in. And if you're in like a big lecture hall with lots of other students, you might not be missed. Nobody would notice for a little while.
Yeah, it's really easy to fall through the cracks, I think. And then the other thing that sort of, because I tend to get all these little tiny bits of ideas from places and whack them all together. And the other thing was the idea of hazings, which are more of an American thing, but these like initiation ceremonies for secret societies or for sports groups or whatever. And some of them have gone too far. There have been cases in the States where, young people have been fed so much alcohol that they've died or been given other substances and things. And it's kind of interesting then on culpability, I think. When is it murder or manslaughter or whose fault is it? And what if there's like 20 people involved? And some of those cases are really quite haunting. There's some sort of British and European ones as well. And yeah, that all kind of went into this melting pot of things that just bother me, I suppose, and then kind of write it into the story.
Have you heard any hazing stories, Lisa?
No,
No.
I don't
that you can
in
share.
terms of from the university perspective, no, we never heard of anything like that. A big risk to students in the UK, I think, is cuckooing. So gangs kind of giving some
Yeah.
drugs and then them being in debt, or maybe giving them a little bit to sell on campus or something like that, getting a hook as they do. And then cuckooing is when they'll go and take over their flat or apartment. And usually they've got a university flat. And often your key card is the main thing that gets you in and out and does everything. So if they get hold of their key card, the student can't really do anything, particularly if it's a site where your key card's accessing everything. So you might not be able to get on site anymore. You won't be able to go to lectures anymore, and they might have gone home. But if the card's still active, and in terms of the readers, sometimes they read the activity on the cards to see like where how many times have you gone to the library and all of that sort of stuff. The card's still active, so they won't
Wow.
know that maybe no one's going to sit there and really check the picture against it. So yeah, I know that that is a risk for students that somebody would come in and take over their flat effectively, and again, you might not know, or there have been violent instances on kind of on campus and stuff that again, I think related to kind of arguments over drugs. I can't say I don't know any particular ones off the top of my head. But I think that's a real risk because you're 18 years old, and like you say, like the other case you mentioned, going out, drinking, having fun, that's kind of part of the university
Yeah.
experience, isn't it? That's part of what it's all about. But that also then places you at a high level of risk. And I think we forget that, yes, 18 is an adult on paper, but I'm not sure if it's I don't think you suddenly turn 18 and suddenly go, oh, I'm very
Yeah.
mature now. I'm going to know exactly how to take care of myself.
Yeah, I think so. But I think you're going to get really different kinds of people, aren't you, all in one place? And so maybe you've been at school with people
Mm,
that were like you, grew up in a place like you, have similar sort of values and experiences, and then all of a sudden you're thrown together. And so my character very much has that. He's from this rural farming community where everybody knows everybody. He's very physically capable. But he's never experienced this kind of city living.
mm,
And he has a friendship group that's incredibly close to start with, but they're really different. He's friends with this really posh kid who's got loads of money. And on paper, they look like completely different people, but actually they find common experiences through the way they've been treated by their fathers or those kinds of things. But yeah, people go too far, don't they? And university is a place where that definitely must happen a
Mm,
lot.
yeah.
yeah. First
Yeah.
taste of freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've kind of got to push the boundaries to know where they are. And yeah.
I mean, knowing what we were going to talk about, I did a little Google search, as you do.
Ooh.
Other search engines are available.
You did some of our minimal research, which
I
we're known
did.
for.
I did one check. Um, just to see if there was any famous missing men cases, because
Mm,
I could probably tell you 10 off the trot of children and women, but I couldn't think of any. And the
mm.
first two that actually came up were just incredibly shocking. So the first one in the UK was Lord Lucan,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
basically, and as we covered in our election special,
Yeah.
a possible murderer,
Yeah.
who definitely went missing. Well,
Immediately.
maybe not on his own, but he had every reason, let's say, to go missing. And then the second one was DB Cooper,
Oh,
who was
that is a
the
case.
yeah, that is a case, the famous kind of robber in the States that took over the plane and jumped out of the plane with all the money and a parachute
I
into
know.
to legend.
Yeah. And some of the money showed up at some point, didn't it? Like in a
Yeah.
riverbank but I don't think they found
No,
how the
they've never
money has been
they've they've
spent
they've got
or
suspicions, haven't they, as to who he was, but it's never been 100% decided. So effectively missing man. But
but
none
how do
really.
you, if you've achieved that, how do you manage to keep that to yourself? Like it must be so tempting to be like,
I
wow.
suppose all the money makes up for it, though, doesn't it? I'd have been like,
But
oh well, I can get the
I don't
notoriety,
think,
or I can have £1 million.
am I right that that money's never been spent?
The thing is, it could have been washed, couldn't it? It could have been laundered.
Maybe. I
And
don't think they found the notes. I think I might be wrong. I listened to a podcast on this, and I'm pretty sure they were looking out for notes that would have been in that, and that they haven't been. So then there was speculation that maybe he died in the jump, but yeah, then he would have been found, or the
found.
money would have been found.
Because I
So
can't imagine they weren't looking for the money. And the first
yeah,
place you look for something is the last place you saw it. And they
But I
saw it
think
flying out of the
we
aeroplane on the back of a man.
we sometimes forget, don't we, like how big somewhere like the States is, because
Mm.
I don't think in the UK, if you jumped out of a plane and landed anywhere, 10 years later, someone would have stumbled over you. But I wonder in places like America and Australia and Canada, where the landscape is just so big, it's really
There's
interesting. And actually, having said that, speaking of men who go missing, I really like Highland Cops. I don't know if you've seen that, because all my books are set in Scotland and I grew up in Aberdeenshire, and Highland policing is so different to, you know, other policing, but it also encompasses towns where there are drugs problems, but then there's poaching in rural areas. And another thing is a lot of people going missing out walking. And there was one guy who, as far as I know, is still missing. He was a sort of survival expert, and he went off for 3 or 4 days and didn't show up when he was supposed to come home. And they kind of know where he must be, and they've not been able to find him, because once you leave the path, and this is something I sort of played with in my first book, where my missing person is on a hillside. Once you leave the path,
yeah.
It can't be found.
Look at what happened with Julian Sands. And he was quite experienced in climbing and kind of doing all that thing, and how long it took them to find him.
Yeah, it sounds easy, like if you know someone's within these square miles, but yeah, incredibly difficult. And in my fourth book, which is coming out in August in the Cal Lovett series, is about a body that's found on a hill, and it's not identified for 20 years. But in the sort of present day of the story, somebody goes missing, and it's exactly that thing. They've got drones out, helicopters out, people out looking for somebody who was seen on this ridge, and they just cannot find her.
It's I mean,
You
one of
wouldn't
the
think it was easy to go missing if you watch shows like Hunted
no
on telly. They always get found.
yeah, but they always work on social media and
Yes,
inform the
they always
hunters
get.
and stuff.
I'm just going to call my best friend. They won't be looking at their phone, will they?
Yeah, me and Lisa, we would be amazing on that show because we would just disappear. we
Well, we're
Lisa
learning
would
from the
take it.
best now.
Yeah,
See,
Lisa would
we're
take
getting
it
all
as
the
a
good
break.
advice.
You'd have a break
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
family and your home life, and I'd be just like running into the wildlife, going, "Oh, I want my money. I don't care. I'll speak to everyone when I come back and I'm rich."
Yeah, that's it. I think I could quite easily kind of go, I don't need to talk to anyone. I'll be all right. I could, what is it, 9 weeks?
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's not even that
nothing.
long, is it? How long is it?
9 weeks, is it
Yeah,
It's not
really?
9 weeks. It's not, I don't think it's even that long. I think it's
Is
like,
it
No.
8 weeks? Is it 2 months?
is it 2 months?
Or no? Well, it depends. I think they do it in 8 episodes, don't they? But that doesn't mean to say that
But that's
each
not a
episode is
week.
a
I
week.
reckon it's probably
Yeah,
over about 3 weeks or something, actually. I don't
that's
even think it's that
nothing.
long. I could
We'd have to
disappear
ask for
from
more
that. I'd be
time. We'll be
happy.
missing for a little bit longer, won't
I
we,
think they
Reece?
must make them. Do you think they say you've got to contact or you've got to go?
Yeah, they
Because
must do.
otherwise, if you
It's not
literally,
interesting.
I'd just go disappear into a bog, put a load of mud on my face, and be like, right, this is me for the next 3 weeks. Brilliant. Like, and they'd be like, that's really boring. There's
You
nothing
have
for our
to
audience
keep
to watch here.
you have to keep moving. I think that's part of it. That's one of the
Yeah.
rules.
Okay, you
So
can't
you
just
have to keep
hold
on the
up.
move. You can't hold up just in one place. You have to keep moving. So they've got a
Boo.
chance of getting you, I think. But yeah,
I was going to go and hide out in a grain silo that I've just heard about. That it's not standing anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I was
They're
just
not
going to go and hide out in a grain
sorry.
silo. That'd be all right. I've seen the plans on the internet.
I got a flash there of the Lisa Lamb case. With you in
Oh
silo.
gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Gosh,
a bit of a
that's a
worry one,
mysterious one, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't
Yeah.
it?
yeah.
Isn't it? Not, I mean, obviously not a man, but still.
No.
And again, stays with you though, doesn't it? Because it was a vulnerable young woman, and
Mm.
she
Yeah.
was found naked in that water tank, and it's like, and everyone's like, she did it herself. Did she? I mean,
Yeah.
how
And then that
delusional would
very
you have to be?
strange footage
Yeah.
of her
Yes.
from the lift
Lift
that
and
really.
things. Mm.
And then that hotel, isn't that whole place like a bit of a, there's been all sorts of stuff that's gone on there. It's like a really,
Yeah.
like people visit it. It's kind of a site for people to visit as a kind of What's it called? Is it dark tourism?
Dark
Yeah.
Talked
tourism.
about before,
Yeah, there's
Nicky.
been a lot
Yeah.
of deaths and there was a lot of suicides, I think, around the 1920s when the stock market crashed. But it was based on American Horror, wasn't it? Had their hotel series was based on that hotel, the Cortez,
Oh,
that they had in that.
Wow.
Not
gosh.
saying that it's the same or anything.
Talking of missing young men, what about that young man who it wasn't that long ago? Did he go missing in like Tenerife or something?
Yes.
Yeah, was
Yes.
he found?
He was on a hillside, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He set out to walk back from somewhere and went off the path, I think. And yeah,
And then
he
I
was
kind
looked
of
for weeks.
remember all the social media campaign around it, and then sort of these bizarre. I'm sure there was something where they were trying to say that he was related to the mother who put her daughter under the bed and then claimed she was
Oh,
missing. I'm sure I saw
Oh,
like some bizarre thing online, which obviously wasn't true, but they were claiming that it was her nephew or something like that. So it was another thing where they just made him disappear for the for the
wow.
attention.
Because he had been involved in a crime, hadn't he? He'd been part of a gang who'd attacked somebody.
Oh, I don't
So
think
he
I know
had
that
been,
bit.
and there was all this, it got very murky online because obviously
Mm.
he hadn't, again, this is exactly the thing. If you're not the stereotypical victim, people react as there was a real backlash against
Mm.
him. And it's quite interesting. And I think I try and play with that in all of my victims in the Cal Lovett series, is they're not necessarily a stereotypical, easy to like victim. And then I think that does change how hard people will look for you or those sorts of things.
well, keep that in mind,
Mm.
Heather, because we don't know if anyone's going to look for you because we're going to keep you down the red rabbit hole for a week.
Help!
That sounded so
Help!
creepy.
I know. So yes, so we have run out of time, but we will pick this up in the next episode, and we will take care of Heather. We promise. We promise.
We've
At
got some
least a chocolate.
breakfast, we've got some coffee for you.
Oh,
You can
good.
just have some quiet time. It's going to be like I'm going to treat you to a little week like we would be on Hunted. Yeah, we're
Okay,
gonna get all muddy. We're gonna hide down in the bog, hide down in the rabbit hole.
right. Go back to
It'll be fun.
basics. Find
Yeah,
ourselves. Rabbit.
yeah, your ritual. Yeah,
Yeah.
burn
Don't
some
trust.
joss sticks.
Don't trust the jacuzzi though, Heather. That's all I'm going to
Okay.
say.
No. Stay out of that.
Oh gosh.
Well, thank you for being with us, listeners and viewers. Thank you for coming down the Red Rabbit hole. And do remember to follow the Red Rabbit on all the social media on Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube, which is we're on now. And I'm going to do my give us a thumbs up. Can you see my thumbs? Ooh. Give us a thumbs up if you can, because it doesn't cost you anything to just subscribe or to give us a thumbs up and say that you like us or leave us a comment. But it means the world to us because we're still a baby podcast. Only just turned one.
Oh,
I know. We're
Only
still
taken
in
our first steps
we're
recently.
still
yeah.
in nappies.
The first little hops into the world.
We did.
Yeah. So do stick around for the next week's episode and you'll learn more about Heather's books, and of course there'll be links down below so you can buy the books and especially buy the audiobook as well and check out what Heather's done with her dystopia.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right.
Thank
Well, you're not going
you.
anywhere. Don't try that.
Stay there.
That was sneaky. She's
Stay put.
staying right here. And we will see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.